Oh, yes. Welcome. Welcome to Real Deal Media's official podcast channel. This is Late Night Thoughts with Dean Ryan, your host. Your late night host. Your late night host. Hope you're doing well tonight. And we're lounging here. And I have a guest with me. I'm going to let through the door here because I double locked it, double bolted when I heard she was coming. Polished my gun, bought life insurance. The whole nine. It's the return of Jenna. She's here tonight to bask in her glory. Let's welcome back one, the only Jenna. Jenna, welcome back. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. Can I make you a drink or anything? Would you like anything?
Sure.
Anyways, welcome back to Late Night Thoughts. You're one of those guests. People have said, "What happened to that girl?" That girl. I said, "Well, let me. I don't know. Let me read the obituaries first. We'll start small." And then, last I left off, we ended strongly last year with some very top shows. You did the 2 lounge shows that got me in trouble. And then you did some very fascinating and fun after parties with us as well. If you recall the top threes and what was it? Top 3 love songs?
Yeah, that was one of them.
I remember you said this one answer. You're like, yeah, there's this one guy. He doesn't curse in his music. His songs are so fucking good. You guys got to hear them. Oh my God.
I was drinking heavily that evening.
That was one of my favorite after parties of last year.
I'm
sure yours as well. Anyways, and then you joined me for Late Night Thoughts, a podcast we did where I begrudgingly wish I didn't talk about, God, how we got hacked. So it was just like 30, 40 minutes of me just blubbering and blabbering. So we'll try not to do that tonight, although I've already failed. So how are you doing, Jenna? What is new in your life? Did you get any new tattoos? I heard you have some that people don't even know about. Some you might even forgotten about.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, what was it? More than 5, less than 10, I think is it.
You know, I never got a tattoo because I have this fear. I don't know. We all have like weird phobias and stuff. Like some people don't walk under ladders. No, I've always had a fear that the needle that they would use on me to get a tattoo would be like tainted or something, dirty or rusty. You know, you ever think about that?
You could just supply your own,
Oh, didn't think about that.
Seems like an easy answer, easy fix.
my own stash. No, I never got I almost got a tattoo right here. It was going to say a clock on it. It was going to say "Be here now," which is it's a Buddhist reference. The meaning of life is to be here now, and it's also an album by the 3rd album by Oasis that was a life-changing game changer for me back in high school, which I just graduated, by the way.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm one of the older seniors,
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Being an older senior, I've had time to think about how I want to step in the world. I will admit, I get the stares, because my girlfriend's a freshman, so we get the stares, and it's not accepted. By the way, satire, everybody, satire. What do you think of the world today compared to where we last left off?
It's gotten even more ridiculous. I'm like, how are they getting away with all of this? How are they doing this? I saw something recently. It was in California. No, I'm sorry, New York. And it was at a Cabela's. And they had roped off the ammo area with all this like tape, like warning tape, like if it was at a crime scene, and no one could buy ammo. That was like a thing. And I guess the governor decided no one's allowed to buy ammo.
What do you think the reason is behind that? Because I have a few.
Well, my first thought is they're going to need ammo, like something's going to obviously happen that would make them want to buy ammo. However, I did just see 40 CEOs wrote a letter I saw it on Twitter, saying that there was a shortage of certain metals or something, and the current rate, they'll be out of such and such and such, so I don't know if the ammo has anything to do with metal shortage.
Well, there's a shortage of goods. China just made a wartime nationalizing of all their goods, meaning they cut off all the exports to the U.S., meaning Walmart's going to have a shortage, meaning the food stamps aren't going to be able to, they'll still probably be able to buy things, but there's nothing there to buy.
Right.
On top of the truth about the miracle jabs coming out, which strolls and waltzes right into SPARS 2025, which calls for the revolt to every state. It will overthrow. Yeah, that's what this is leading up to.
Okay, this was European metal groups. Just says an existential. I can never say that word. Existential threat.
Well, let's sound it out. Let's start small.
Existential.
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 Sexistential.
Existentially. All right.
Exceptionally. Okay.
Yep. I shouldn't even tried it.
Oh, I need to try more often.
And then in California with the blackouts, and it's like, wait, now correct me if I'm wrong. Would you consider California and New York to be more democratic states?
They're the two strongholds of the country, really. New York is considered the capital of the country. That's why when there's overthrows of countries, they take the capital, because that's where everything flows through. Like London is the financial capital of Europe. Like any good piece of Swiss cheese, there's some holes in it. So upper side New York is the Syracuse and what have you up there is the conservative stronghold, just like Orange County, California, and San Bernardino County in California. It's the same thing because there's a lot of farm areas, just like Illinois. Have you been to Illinois?
I have.
Isn't it shocking the first time you go to Illinois and you're not in Chicago and you see what Illinois really is? You're like, whoa, it's Farmville.
That's mostly what it is besides Chicago, it seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in Indiana, right? What is Indiana? I know nothing about Indiana except it was mentioned in a Tom Petty song and they had Reggie Miller, the basketball player on the Pacers. Outside of that, I don't know shit about Indiana.
Yeah. Conservative state for sure. When I was watching the news, I'm still watching, kids wearing masks in all these different schools and throughout the country. We didn't really have that. I mean, for a moment, but that quit way faster than any other places. Besides that, little side note, Indianapolis is the 13th biggest city. You wouldn't think, because it's a very large area. The border, whatever, to consider it Indianapolis. So I think because of that, that's why it's personally considered that. Because the downtown area, it's tiny little tall buildings.
Now, what is Indiana known for outside of their sports? Because
Indy 500, right? Sports. Eli Lilly.
Would you say it's known for what?
Eli Lilly, probably.
Eli Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an artist or
Lilly? Well, it's the pharmaceutical company, very very large pharmaceutical company.
Is it a farm state? Is it Kansas? Is it a lot of
corn,
windmills, farms, and skinwalkers and
lots of corn?
It's a good place to grow up. What was it like growing up in Indiana?
It's decent. There's some parts, though, of course, like any place that you don't want to grow up there. We have Gary, Indiana, which has a extremely high crime rate. So there's that. And
Then there's Gary. Then there's Bob. And I thought you were going to say that. Then there's Gary. You know how he is.
He's from here, and he didn't turn out so good.
Oh, he's a jerk. Did you hear what Gary said last week? So does everyone in Indiana have aspirations of like going to like Indianapolis, the big city, to make it, go to university?
No, most people move. It seems like most of my cousins have moved to Chicago, Colorado, various places, Florida. I moved to Chicago, younger 20s, for quite a few years, really, and then moved to Georgia for a little bit.
Okay. Now I've had a terrible experience with Chicago the multiple times I've been.
Really?
Yeah. This is like, people always ask me, what is your most hated? What city do you hate the most? I'm like, Chicago by far. Although there's some really cool things about it, but they have like a bouncer problem in Chicago, which I didn't realize how bad it was even after I got my ass beat two or three times by three guys at once. It's just.
What are you guys doing? I'm videotaping. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
Oh my God! There's video footage of it somewhere. There's video footage, but there's some good stuff about it. But it's just like the price and cost of living, even when you live there, was just like it's insane.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest things I realized. That, and I would be listening to songs in Chicago for months before they came out in Indianapolis. Like, what is this delay? Yeah, it was very strange. At nearly every popular song, it seemed like it's like, how do you hold something back like that and it not go mainstream? But it was more on the radio, which back then, I don't even know if the internet and YouTube and all I think it was like MySpace probably,
I was going to say, are we talking about the 70s? What are we talking about?
I know. Well, I'm 36 and I was there like when I was 19 or 20, around there for like 5 years or so, but fun stuff though. I had a lot of fun.
You haven't been to California, huh?
I have not. The farthest west was Vegas. I've been to Scottsdale a couple times and Tucson.
I think Arizona is on the up and up. I do. Carrie Lake's about to become governor. She's a wonderful lady. She had shared some Pinot Grigio with me, and she just wouldn't leave me alone. She was like hitting on me, just like, do you mind? I'm having a combo with someone. I'll get to you later.
Gary.
Yeah, she's not like Gary. No, Gary's a real. You graduated too, right? You graduated university. You got valedictorian or something.
Yeah. What is it called?
I can't even say
Magna cum laude.
Magna Carta. Magna Carta. Jean-Claude Van Damme. What was your major and your minor?
Psych of Human Relations. Bachelor of Science, and then for my master's, I'm doing Human Resource Management. I don't know if I'm regretting it or not yet.
I'm regretting it for you.
It's like kind of encompasses like organizational development, if you will, because you have to understand, each department, if you will, to better work with them. So it's like, oh, here we're gonna throw some management at you and some operations, and then we're gonna throw some IT. Like, it's crazy, but it is valuable information for, like, if I want to step aside and start my own business. I have a ton of information.
What would be a great, if you could have like side businesses? What would you choose? Because I've thought about this myself, like. Something we kind of like maybe have lost in the past 2 years plus are kind of those very niche businesses you used to see growing up. Like, I remember it was like, oh, there's the shoe repair for the city. There's the official shoe repair, or there's the TV guy repair, or there's the tailor. It was just they shop just for tailoring. Watches.
That is like a dying thing. Like to get your watch fixed takes
Yeah.
forever to come back because no one wants to be a watchmaker fixer.
No one wants to fix watches. Or there used to be a place in Vegas. I used to live in Vegas. It was specifically a cupcake store only, cupcakes only.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so those kind of gone. What would be your niche business? What would you pick?
Well, I probably know the most about books.
Book repair.
Yeah.
You got a book that's falling apart, we repair it for you.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I have hundreds of books, so at least I'd have some inventory already.
Did you read a lot of books growing up?
Tons. I would finish them so quickly, like those Goosebump books, you know.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on the Goosebumps.
Uh-huh. I would fly through them in less than a day, of course, and I would just one after the other. I asked my mom at one point, "Was I a good kid, you know, growing up?" She's like, "Yeah, you just read all the time." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's good."
Isn't that crazy? I know girls like you. Allow me to explain that blanket of a statement.
Mm.
Is I remember dreading book reports in school. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the greatest thing about a book report is, well, you have to turn it in a month. You have 4 weeks to read a book or whatever, maybe 6. Oh, good. I have time. I thought I had to do it by tomorrow. Well, I was the student that waited literally till the last day to do it
Most did. Well, you know.
because I just couldn't get myself to do it. Like I remember, it got to a point I started buying the Cliff Notes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, I was always rebellious. Like I didn't want to do it if someone else told me to do it. So.
wow, that was the thing. I just wasn't into books. So when I finally was forced to do it because I was failing or whatever, well, they said, Dean, the best way to do it is just everyone's reading this new thing called Goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, I see a lot of Goosebump books. They said it makes it easy and fun to read. You'll get it. Just like you.
Yeah.
And I remember there was always like girls in class that were always the smartest in my Catholic school. It was always the girls that were the smartest. I think we just had dumb boys. But they would read a book in like one night.
Mm-hmm.
With the flashlight under their covers. I hear those stories back then. And
Yeah.
do you remember Scholastics? Did you have
Oh
that?
yeah.
So Scholastics was like this publisher company, kind of like Columbia House Music,
Mm-hmm.
but for books. So in my school, they'd want you to use, like, if you read 10 books here and you purchase these Scholastic books and then sell them, and you get 5 stickers and you read them all, you get rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
I never did any of that. I said, this sucks. I hate books. I hated reading. I don't want to read Goosebumps. I could never get into Goosebumps. Couldn't get into Hardy Boys.
I wonder if it's a male. I don't know very many males that read a lot or read at all, actually. So maybe it's just a thing that a lot of females like to do.
Well, thank you for referring to me as a male. I want to thank you just for starters. A lot of people don't recognize that. They still think I'm a woman after my operation. I said, no.
Or you're just not allowed to acknowledge gender anymore, you know.
Exactly. Hold on, that's 29 minutes. Edit that out. Right, just making sure. Okay. Where was I? To your blanket statement. And that's the name of tonight's episode, Blanket Statements. So I couldn't read the Goosebumps. I couldn't read the Agatha Christie's per se.
Ooh.
But although I did do like And Then There Were None, that was a good book. But I got into magazines and historical books. And my favorite magazine was Mad Magazine, and I read that religiously.
Yeah.
So different strokes for different. I was more of a magazine newspaper guy. I read the newspaper every morning, starting at the age of 10.
Yeah.
And my favorite section of the newspaper was Sundays. You got to see the bra section. Those, put them on your wall and stuff. Oh, it was sorry. Let's capture that fleeting thought you had. You threw a net on it. Now I'm curious like a cat what that is.
Speaking of Agatha Christie, I was in a play when I lived in Georgia. This was about 10 years ago. my hairstylist was like, she was on the board at some theater house, and my hairstylist had mentioned this play, and I was like, yeah, sure. If you need someone to paint the backdrops or something, let me know. Never wanted to be in the play, right? Well, she calls me one day and she's like, you would be perfect for this part. And I'm like, what? Like, and I was like, well, screw it, right? So I thought, well, I'll try something different, whatever. I went, and it was an Agatha Christie play. So I had to talk British, while I'm trying out. And lo and behold, it was the main character that I was trying out for. And I got the role, and it was Agatha Christie's Mousetrap. So I was Molly. Yeah. Very an amazing play, really. It's extremely fascinating.
You were on what again?
Molly.
Okay. Molly. Wow. I remember reading the book. I remember reading that book.
Yeah. That's a good one. Supposedly there's a theater house in, I don't know, Europe somewhere, that all they play is Mousetrap.
Why didn't you do more theater?
Indiana doesn't really have things like that. They don't. I wish they had more culture. But
I love live shows. Like, plays are really good.
We sold out every single night, and we actually brought the theater back. They were going under, and it was crazy, and so that was a really cool thing to be a part of.
You know what you could do? Because I'm such a shameless producer in a way. But you could, like, you said starting a business. You could really get a woman's business grant, if not loan, to start a playhouse.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
To work with the Small Business Administration, you don't even have to finish your course right now. You could get that. Because I used to work with them. Oh, hold on. Someone texted me. God, told her I'm busy. Oh, it's you. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
This was 10 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Did you have to sing or anything?
Did I sing? No. Nope.
So we know you're a karaoke star.
I love karaoke. I do.
Yeah, when we were doing the love songs, you told me I should go talk to Nick about love songs.
I did.
Water Runs Dry by Boyz II Men. I think that's a great R&B song. It's a love song. And
you gotta talk to Nick about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And talk to Nick about love songs.
No.
That'd be kind of a weird discussion. Hey, Nick, I'm calling you up. You want to talk about Boyz II Men and love songs together? What are you doing for the next hour?
Well, the last time we were wasted together, which is like, not too long ago, the karaoke.
Really? I thought it was like 30 years ago.
Two of us, and he sang Boyz II Men. He did.
Oh, did he? Okay. I knew he was a crooner.
Oh, why can't we do it right now?
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do. My friends.
I like to do caroling. That's my favorite thing to do. But throughout the year, though, not just Christmas. Yeah. No, I do. Have you done it? Caroling in June? That is something else.
Yeah, through the summer.
It's the greatest episode of all time. It's one of my favorite after parties. Because I was like, yeah, Boyz II Men, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you should talk to Nick about Boyz II Men. I'm like, yeah, because that wouldn't be gay at all.
I don't even remember this. You and Nick, you could be Boyz II Men. You could become Boyz II Men.
Nick is this guy who's like, he's stoned when I talk to him, but he somehow knows things or people and stuff and kind of in my industry, but he's on a long break, I guess. He does real estate, or I don't know what he does. We don't really keep in touch as much.
I know he just took a new gig. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Which is usually code for male prostitute. But, yeah. He double booked. That's how I met Jenna.
It's supposed to be for my birthday,
Yeah, I got the date wrong. Wouldn't you be terrified though? Like if a guy popped out of a cake and you had like a bunch of people there, wouldn't you like just freak out?
Yeah, I went to one of those Chippendales before, and There's nothing that would make me go back to one.
Okay, what is that like? Because Chippendales is something people don't even really recall. It never comes up as much as it used to. You know.
Women are known to, I guess, strip, right? I don't know. It just doesn't.
It's in their nature.
Yeah, that seductress, And so when men do it, it just doesn't have that seductress, vibe. I don't know. It just didn't tickle my fancy. We'll just say that. Nor did the lap dancing or the shaking of the, like the helicopter.
Oh, my fucking side hurt. Oh, I pulled it. Oh, fuck. Warn me. Fuck you, Jenna. Oh, you. Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh, God. I'll be right. Oh, God, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, shit. So we were talking about scholastic book reading, and
I know, books
for kids to aspire to be something. I'm sorry, did you say you live in Chicago or Georgia?
Yeah, both.
Okay, good. No further questions.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you tuned out or dropped your phone in the toilet after first 30 some odd minutes here, we last left off after we discovered, well, now we're finding out what Jenna's been doing in 2022. Plays and helicopter rides. And so you go to Chippendales, which is a well, it's not a gentleman's club, but a gentlewoman's club, and you get a lap dance from what I would presume is a college guy just trying to earn some money to pay his tuition. How many girls are you with at this point?
I was only with a couple, 2 or 3. Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of a almost not even a departure, but a mere scenario of the last story you told about how you were in a club and your girlfriend's somebody cupped her. Which that was a first for me too.
When you say it that way, it does make it sound like what really happened. It makes it sound even more ridiculous. And it really happened.
Okay, yeah. So somebody, there was a company of the what?
Vagine?
The Whisker Biscuit, yes.
Very side note, I have to tell you.
No, this better be a very big side note.
Well, it has to do with vaginas.
Okay, the hoo-ha, the down there, or as we found out, the FOD, the Forge of Darkness. It's a long story.
Okay, yeah.
I really want you to know what FOD means, but go ahead.
So I know this girl, Talia. And one day someone was like, Jenna and Talia. I was like, oh, fuck. Jenna and
Talia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gina, Tajini. I mean, I had so many names, and vagina. Yeah.
Well, don't you ever go by Jennifer? Do you ever go by Jennifer or no?
No, that's not my name. No.
Oh, that's right. Don't tell me. Hold on. Can I buy a vowel? An A? Janine.
No, it's just Jenna.
God.
Just Jenna.
Give me false intel I had. Faulty intel.
That should be like a show. Just Jenna. I've had to say that a couple times.
Just Jenna.
Yeah.
I would love to film the intro to that, where
Mhm.
well, there's there's 3 different scenarios to do the intro for your show,
Yeah.
and plausible. And then we have to get back to Chippendales. Please don't let me forget, because I
Okay.
cannot leave. I cannot live my life not knowing what happened. The first intro would be you're locking the door to your house, and then you turn around, go like that, and then you're
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other one is you're coming through the door. Door opens, you drop your bags, and you go like this, and your kids run up to you, or somebody walks over and tries to throw a pie at you, and they miss, and you go, "Just Jenna."
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
You could film me on my motorcycle or something.
Do you have a sidecar for the motorcycle?
I was looking at one actually, but not
Really?
yet. Is what I mean.
I like to drive in the sidecar and hold
Okay.
the groceries for you, if you don't mind.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want like a fake steering wheel so people think I'm driving too. Anyways, sorry for that departure as well. So you're at this mysterious club with 2 other girls after going to a previous club where there was a cupping.
But yeah.
And you said it's just not the same. Are you saying it was not fun at this club? Like at a ladies' club, it's just boring. It's a bunch of just hen parties.
I just feels weird when a man is shaking his butt and his other thing in front of you and grinding, like trying to grind. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just there's just nothing about it. Sure, they have great bodies, but it's like you have a better body than I do, and
Women
what?
hate that.
I don't want to have to keep up with something like that.
Isn't that weird? Like, and I totally agree. Like, men can't be seductive. Like, that's why when I strip, it's always an accident. Like, oh, my shorts fell down again. That's my intro. Then I proceed to do the helicopter, and it's great.
Whoops. It's like your favorite thing to do. You love to wow people.
My shorts, they keep falling off, and they do this helicopter thing after.
Opportune. How opportune.
Girls hate when there's a guy that's skinnier than them, I think. Is that safe to say?
Well, yeah. I feel like there's an element of like safety. Like, hey, I want to feel safe and I want to know that you can protect me. Right.
Yeah.
And personally I grew up with 3 brothers, so I feel like I'm a little bit roughened up by them, and so I'm tough in a way. But so to find someone stronger, tougher than me mentally, it's that's a big thing for me. On top of like, okay, I want to know that you can, if some man, comes by with a mask on and whatever, what are you gonna do? And there's one to like go at him, and then the
Right.
guy's just standing there.
See, you want a Stephen Hawking's meets kind of a Steven Seagal. He needs to know how to configure world problems and economic institutions, as well as knows how to present a fine judo chop.
As well as, give a fuck about what's going on. I feel like so many people right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't even aware of what's going on around them and government-wise, and these mandates, if you will. Right. But
it's terrible. It's terrible. And I cannot correct you because you're not wrong.
Okay, thank you.
I tried to. I said, I'm going to stop her right now. I better shut her mouth from lies. It is something to see. I must add to your wonderful thesis that there's something to be said that the rallies and protests I've stumbled upon, I always seem to go to some of these things, not often and as much as I did, but when I did, they were all women.
Mm-hmm.
All women protesting, like getting arrested too, like cops getting arrested for not having masks on. They're all women, no guys. Guys at the time too, 2020 and some of 2021, were all into it, getting into it, and then sports came back, and these bozos went back to sleep. So I can't imagine being a woman just not only just hating it, but yes, finding it so unattractive that they're like, no helicopters, lap dances from you. And I have to say, I think now that applies to guys too. Like any women that are asleep to this, even just people in general, I can't be around per se for long periods of time, let alone,
I know.
Dating, relation, whatever. I can't.
I know. It's hard. It's really hard because, well, from a personal standpoint and, I guess experience, a few people that I know, all talk about it and it stresses them out. It stresses them out too much. So they'd rather ignore it and act like it's not there. And I'm like, how? You have to be stronger than this. You have to, these are things going on. You can't just ignore it. I don't understand that part of things at all.
You can only ignore the gas tank being empty for so long until you're going to have to start pushing your car.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like the gas engine light. I just ignore it. It's too stressful. I put a piece of tape over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying I have, so I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm talking about. I mean, my first car, the gas gauge was broken, so you had a little chalkboard of how much gas you put in it last time.
Oh my gosh.
Tank.
Okay, tell me, you've encountered a person or people like this. The what would you call the new age religious movement, or belief movement of, you can fix things with like your mind, and if you give it attention, then basically that's your reality. It's like, no, this is reality, and like some people really believe their thoughts can just take it all away. And I'm like, what? And sure, there is some element of manifestation and things, but there's our reality, and then there's a collective reality. That affects everyone.
You are spot on. It goes into that whole new age movement started in the 1970s by the central intelligence that gave us, the yogas and such, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Although I look foolish doing yoga. I did it once at the gym, and I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, I'm out of here. This is fuck this. I can't do it.
Try doing hot yoga.
I did room temperature yoga, and that was hard. No, you totally get it. And you know what I say to both sides, too. The ones that don't even want an ounce of, the spirituality, esoteric. And then, no, I just got my guns, to the opposites who just, I don't want what they're talking about. We got our well wishes and manifestations. I almost said malnutrition, too. We're having problems talking tonight, I see.
The result of fasting.
Excentation, or whatever you say.
Existential.
Existential. It's extrastential.
Very crucifixion sounding existential.
It is. I say, you know what? I say, sorry, both of you, both camps. I used to say this in my live talks when I did the speaking circuits. Did the Jedis defeat the Empire, Darth Vader and all them, with just Jedis? No. They needed the rebels, the Han Solos, the guys with the blasters, the guns, the people, the Capricorns, our feet are on the ground type.
Yep.
No, did the rebels defeat the Empire without the Jedis? No, they didn't. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's a healthy dose of everything, know about politics. Yes, nationally, whatever, but no international politics. What's happening in other countries, but also know your local. Know where your food comes from in a way. Know a bit about history, know a bit about science, know a bit what's happening, the economy, money, and it's a lot. And the people, like you're saying, that just don't want to do it, it's because they don't want to have to face reality.
Yeah.
Because reality bites, like the movie said.
I feel like that way of thinking just creates, well, it doesn't create it. It's like inaction. They don't do anything. They don't create anything, and these mantras and these, things that they just repeat over and over. It's like, how are you moving? Are you getting anywhere? Are you just, I don't know. Is your trash going to take itself out by you, willing it in your mind?
Well, the same people say, well, if you think the bad thoughts, then it's going to happen to you. right? It's going to happen. So I'm putting
No.
the wellness, and I think, well, why the hell do you lock your doors? Because
Right.
obviously you think someone's going to come in your house and just, what, steal your bathrobe and drink all your milk, you know?
Right.
Well, that's the
And
kind of
think
cat burglar I am. You know,
turn the pictures upside down.
it's my signature Hallmark move.
Yo,
You've
it
been
ain't
had.
that Dean.
He got us again. How do you know, honey? Our pictures are upside down. Oh my God.
But really, think of all the negative things you thought, like especially if you're like super stoned, you're paranoid. None of that
Hey,
shit
wait
came
a minute.
true.
I'm paranoid. Are you talking about me? My God. Is that a pen or a cigarette? Oh, it's like the longest cigarette I've ever. It's like a mini flashlight. What the hell is that?
It's a lightsaber.
I'm kidding. It's like those. It's like those cigarettes those guys in Casino were smoking from like the 70s. These
Yeah.
long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I bought a pack of smokes.
Ooh,
Winston's.
nice.
Those long nights and evenings when you just come home, you just want flavored country in your mouth and to relax. That's why I smoke Winston's, because I want the world to know that I'm a real man. Isn't that right, honey? We both smoke Winston's.
Winston.
Well, you know what happened is, it's a long story, but I needed like props, so I bought cigarettes. But really, it's because for like 3 weeks or whatever, I kept smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pigeon smoking or someone on my roof. And then I think it was the vent or whatever. So I'm like, I can't take it anymore. Now I'm craving cigarettes. I'm just craving whatever cigarettes. So I
Nicotine.
bought a pack. Yeah. I bought a pack like 2 months ago, and they're still here because I smoked one or two. And I'm like, I can't smoke. I'm not into it. This is not. I smoked for 2 years, but it was buglers. So I just rolled my own. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that.
Mm-hmm. Then I would, roll them on my own, and then I would sell them to elementary kids. That's what I did. Yeah, side hustle. Come on, you tell me you don't sell lottery tickets to kids? I mean, come on.
It's a good business.
Yeah.
Don't hate the game.
Some of my biggest clientels are sophomores. Anyways, I'm going to get off on this. This is crazy. To add some ingredients to what you're saying, I think by now we should have somehow, many of us should have somehow realized what is happening everywhere, To add to what you're saying, do you think you've lost more people in this time of great struggle, or do you think you've gained more people?
Well, I've strengthened relationships from it. I've definitely lost a few, but I would say I've gained more value overall, because the people that aren't in my life anymore, and even the people that are, it's like they never were that much to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I found out true colors more so.
Jenna's talking about me, by the way. Continue.
And on the other hand, I realized who cared about me. And there's that good stuff.
Well, I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. And then there's people that I know, if I'm around them for an extended period of time, that they're just going to pick on me, because I'm like out there and stuff. And you might be too. I'm not sure. Jenna's quite mysterious. We're not even sure if that's her real name. Russian spy, #Russian spy. But those people, you almost avoid them because, right, they know what I'm about or whatever.
Exactly.
They're going to come at me, which is cool. They're going to lose. And
Yep.
I'm kind of waiting for it. I'm hoping, but,
Mm-hmm.
or they just avoid you. So I've lost people, but I lost them with the whole Trump proctology, that whole administration of just putting a line in the sand with people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think what he did, just shining a flashlight on the elephant in the room. Finally,
Yeah.
so those people are gone, but
Yeah.
there might be more people to leave this crazy train. I'm staying on.
Yeah. I find it strange. Like, how do people not want to know, or not even know a glimmer of what we know? You know what I mean?
Or how do people put up with that and staying around that for eternity?
Yeah.
Like I look at my grandparents. I look back and I'm like, Grandpa, why did you stay with Grandma that long? She bought a house behind you when you didn't know. Imagine your wife buying a whole house without you knowing. You just come home one day and you can't get in. Oh, we moved.
No.
She almost divorced him because he came home late from the Vietnam War. Sorry, I was busy fighting, the Viet Cong. Whatever. She's shallow. And I say, why, Grandpa? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Could have had the whole house to herself. Why? So that's, as much as I understand, or don't get why people don't want to, may want to know more. I kind of get why they don't, but I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I must find it a dead end to remain around the unawakened like that when there's just no, it's like not even 4 steps forward. It's like maybe 1 step forward and then 4 steps back and then remain,
Mm-hmm.
recycle, repeat, rinse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And I think that's it. That's like that repetitive lifestyle where there's no depth. I find, somewhat of an enjoyment, of course, digging into these things and learning these things. And wow, I mean, it gives you kind of it's exhilarating at times. So there's that element, And like, what do you talk about with some people?
I feel the same way with the friends I have back at home that just don't talk to me anymore. What can I talk about them? The crazy night we had when we were 24 years old?
Or some of my friends, it's, oh, she did this and they did that. And it's like they're just talking about people that it's like, oh, come on, just whatever. And, or, fashion and just these, I don't know. There's no ideas. There's no
innovation.
Yeah. And deep thinking and like, let's talk about crazy things like aliens, what do you think about them? Have you ever been abducted? Come on.
Ever been probed by an alien? Come on, somebody. Raise a hand.
Something.
We know you're out there.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's talk about monkeypox for a change. Come on, people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into it.
I've been dying to talk about this stuff all night.
No, you're absolutely correct. To me, that's riveting. That is counterculture. That's against the grain. That is dangerous talk. That's what the First Amendment is supposed to be protecting, not, I'm gay and I'm proud.
Yeah. Like, okay. I knew that 10 years ago when you didn't tell anybody.
Like,
we all knew you were gay.
Okay, yeah, okay. Is it 90s weekend where you're supposed to be a hero right now? Okay.
Yeah.
25 years too late, pal. I'm sorry, do you want a medal? Or I'm 400 pounds, body positivity.
Mm-hmm. I just think a lot about my own children and like what I don't want them to be conditioned to think things that aren't healthy for their minds. I want them to question. I want them to push back when things don't feel right or seem right. I want them to stand their ground and not follow the crowd. I just feel like a lot of this stuff that we see in the media and of course that they're being taught in schools is not a healthy lifestyle at all, emotionally, physically.
No.
Not even close. And I don't want them to go down that road. No one should go down that road.
Well, you can make, that it can now be said officially that we are what we eat. Officially, we are genetically modified organisms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you genetically modify something over and over with every element of nutrient that goes into you, it genetically modifies an entire generation that will now forever be lost. and completely deducted in quantity contributors to society going forward.
Yeah. It's just logic. It's intuition. It's mainly intuition, maybe emotional intelligence, morals.
Self-awareness is so
Mm-hmm.
gone in the decadent narcissistic social media has really ridded self-awareness.
There was a study done, and you know, the younger, I don't know what they're calling Generation X or Z or whatever, but you know, high schoolers around there, middle school, they polled a bunch of kids. I don't know how many, but I want to say 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 said they wanted to be like an online influencer.
I heard it was a whopping 1% said they wanted to be mimes. Can we get any more niche?
I
What are
know,
the
right?
watch repair guy that has more
Yeah.
value than
Mhm.
a fucking media influencer? I'm telling you, the Generation Z. I think that's your kids' is your child's generation. 20% of them identify as non-fluid.
Cats.
Yeah, cats. So that's a problem.
That is a problem.
There's now on the flip side of it, because I'm always about the flip side, the grass is greener, the other side of the coin, the yang, not always the yin,
Mm-hmm.
the crust, not just the bread. Is that the people who have steadfastly said no to a lot of this and have only evolved, like us and others, people listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
who are striving and reaching our true potentials in talents we didn't even know we had or we thought was silly because the record industry or whoever didn't give us the nod on the casting couch, because that's for the golden calf societies that's now dead. But for us and who are representing the new age of Renaissance,
Mm-hmm.
who are multifaceted, talented like yourself, you can do science and math, but you could also do the arts.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people who've been categorized and pigeonholed in one box forever, only
Right.
on top of the identity politics of, well, I can only do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only a math and science guy. Well, guess what? Those people are even at the age of 80. There's someone who I met who was in his entire adult life from college onward. He was a computer programmer who's now retired. Well, guess what? He used his math and science to learn the art and how to bake bread. And that's what he does now. At
Mm-hmm.
80, bakes bread.
Yeah.
Good bread.
Yeah.
Art form to it, but he's using the math and science. And he's reaching his other true potentials in life. At
Yeah.
80.
I love it.
Where is that?
Yeah. I love it's like the idea of creation. You know, I feel there's a certain element when you create something. You take the bunch of things that the universe gives us and we put it together and create something. And whether that's art or bread or, whatever, I think there's just not enough of that creativity floating around.
Well, everything. If we didn't create, and I said this, I just did a show earlier, and I said this. Ever since the music education was kind of stripped from, I believe, schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that took the creative gene and availability away from kids who are not getting that at home. They're going home, no one's there. They got a virtual reality world place on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fattening them up like a bunch of chickens getting ready for the slaughter. And there's no creative, organic nature
Mm-hmm.
coming from them because it's all provided for them. And I think when that happened, just a downturn in everything, in these kids. And because art, whether it's music, it's an expression of society. And if we don't have the arts, then we don't have expression. Then we just have a mask on us for the rest of our life. And I think it's a travesty.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So we have a docile generation of children growing up with docile parents that don't, we have 8 generations of welfare families and or single, welfare, like, in the depths of like the Section 8 housing, you have like one mother with like 8 kids from like 8 different suitors.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to imagine. Not much different than the animal kingdom, the human kingdom here.
Well, and psychologically, I was thinking about this earlier. Psychologically, here's this free money, right? You don't have to do anything for it, nothing. Would you not do nothing then?
Yeah, what's the incentive? Yeah, what's the incentive?
And then it's just a habit. You form a habit. You're conditioned into, having maybe that mentality, like a deserving, like, mentality for doing nothing.
Well, but didn't we all learn this? This is the way to live. I mean, wasn't class graded on a curve? Wasn't there open book? Wasn't there if the one noisy kid in class doesn't keep quiet, then we all have to stay 10 extra minutes after the bell rings?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One guy shoots up his family or whatever, so we got to take all the guns away. I mean,
Right. Right.
the scenario that you described, I would think that we all were subjected to that as well, that indoctrination ship.
And it makes me think about that book, and that with the whole theory that these major cataclysms and wars happen every 80 to 100 years, and because it's a cycle, it's a generational thing. And if we line up what is happening now with what happened 80 to 100 years ago, after the awakening, I think, well, during the awakening, after the crisis phase, right? So we're in the crisis phase. During the awakening was around the 1920s, around there, 1930s. That was the greatest generation, supposedly, that ever lived. And around those, I think it was 20, maybe some odd years or something, it was when neighborhoods were established. And I mean, it couldn't have been better in America, especially. So, is there hope for all this craziness? I mean, I'd like to think so. However, our generation is required to build it towards something like that. Like, if we can take what we learned or what we are learning and transmute it, then
You're so. By the way, no one's really ever brought up the cataclysmic event from 100+ years ago. I brought that up several times in the past 2 months, and you are the first to bring that up. And it's so true. I tell people, how do you think that Utah became a state? You had Brigham Young and Joe Smith or whatever booted out of the Union of the United States and said, they said, get the hell out of here, you and your 10 wives, you weirdo. And well, when the cataclysmic event happened in the 1800s, we don't know exactly what. It was torn from history. But we do know the black and white photos of just countless of just orphans, even from Europe, coming to New York, who are just on trains. Why? I never asked why when we saw those photos. But now we know why, because they all became ranch hands and labor slaves to Mormons in Utah and others as well. Well, here we are again. We're about to have major orphans in this country. And we have legislation coming out of California that's the pro-pedosexual type of legislation. Why, we ask? Because they're anticipating majority of the parents to be dead. We know these people, we know the agenda, and we know our history, unlike others.
That's very true. And crazy, because I forgot. I've seen the photos you're talking about.
Yes.
Only once or twice. It was someone made a video on it. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't actually done any research on it. But now
you have to.
Yeah,
you
I'm
have
going
to. Something happened in the 1800s. Well, Jenna, it's such a pleasure to have you back. It's good to see that you're doing well. You're keeping your chin up and your boots on, and you're pistol whipping to a minimum.
Yeah, I gotta reel that in sometimes. Get fired up.
Count your steps, managing your carbs. What else am I missing? So we hope to have you back on more and periodically. And this is just another form of expression, but it's another key to unlocking the minds out there and meeting people where they are, where they need to be, where they want to be. So my final late night thought is thank you for coming on, and we're going to have more of these and continue to strive into the future, because we are the builders of our destiny, and that's what we do here at Real Deal Media's official podcast, Late Night Thoughts. So for Jenna, the strong,
Jenna.
So much offense. Anyways, for just Jenna, I'm Dean Ryan. This is Late Night Thoughts, and be well, be good, be real. And good night, everybody.